Welcome to the BJJ Mental Coach Podcast. I'm your host, Gustavo Dantas, and today we have Thalys Pontes. Thalys, he is the owner of Tap BJJ Academy in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Him and his wife, Abby Pontes, they run an incredible kids program. They have adults as well, but big focus they have is the kids program. They've been open for almost 4 years. With Matt, we connected many years ago, training at the academy, Bruno Bastos Academy in Midland, Texas. It was right before the Worlds when he won. Both are world champions, you know, great people. And he has an incredible story, dude. This is, been doing podcasts for a long time. And this is one of like the most inspirational ones. It's really good. And it's awesome to see him improving his English and flowing super well. So, and probably one of the longest episodes that I recorded too. But there's a reason why, because as long as I don't have a specific time, we're going to be done in 45 minutes, an hour, is as long as the conversation is flowing. So if you appreciate the kind of entrepreneurial journey, just being an immigrant coming from Brazil, living at the academy in Brazil, living in academies in United States, difficulties with just basic needs like food and shelter, basically. He has an incredible story, so hope you enjoy. And also I mentioned during the interview, I just finished, we're recording this in December 2024, and I just finished writing my book, Inner Discovery for Outer Success. 10 rules to integrate authenticity and performance in Jiu-Jitsu and beyond. So I created a online program 10 years ago called Inner Discovery for Outer Success, helping competitors to overcome mental blocks that prevent you from being your best self on a mat. And so basically 10 years later, I'm doing an upgrade of information from the foundation of what I did 10 years ago, plus 10 more years on top of that. But I'm doing a book version to start. And so now it's being edited. So my goal is to release on March 1st, 2025. Let's see how it goes, but I have a lot of things to happen. I have one book that I released, I think it was 2015. The Launching Your BJJ Competition Journey After 30. So this one, it's cool that I talk about 10 rules that we're going to talk about before doing after tournament, especially before getting your mindset ready for competition. And also the last 3 chapters, basically how can you implement those rules, those 10 rules in your personal and professional life. And that's something that usually I like to talk about it, because a lot of the lessons that you learn in Jiu-Jitsu, as you already know, they're definitely applicable to multiple areas of your life. So this is I think this is the most in-depth content that I've released so far. And I have some cool ideas that eventually can come out of this content, a possible workbook to go along with creating a course. So we see a lot of stuff to happen, but this part was the toughest one to write, get ready. So hopefully March 1st, that's the goal. And if you want to follow a little bit more I created a broadcast channel on Instagram. So Gustavo Dantas BJJ, at Gustavo Dantas BJJ, and I have this channel that I'm just sharing, trying daily types of messages sometimes, because I cannot put a video longer than a minute and a half for those messages. So sometimes a quick message like that, and sometimes text, so different things, but a little bit more towards personal development, right? Jiu-Jitsu, sure, we do talk about it too, but a little bit more thinking beyond the mat, right? And also, if you've never heard, maybe you're listening for the first time, the podcast, or watching on YouTube, make sure that if you like the content, subscribe to the channel. We have over 300 videos, all kinds of different stuff, a lot of stuff in Portuguese. Some of them have subtitles, some don't, but episodes, vlogs and different things. Also, I released a documentary about the diary of a master. So it was my journey competing at the Master Worlds. So I have mentioned before, but if you're coming to this channel or this podcast on any of the platforms and you're listening for the first time, go check it out. So it's pretty cool. And the idea is to do a season 2. So my plan, everything going well, I'll be competing at the Europeans in January in Lisbon, and hopefully can get some footage too and do kind of season 2, showing a little bit, especially for the master competitors. We do have Thalys 24, he's young, but I feel like most of my crowd is more of a masters crowd, over 30. And I feel the message, a lot of people like the inspiration and of, man, it's not because you're over 30 that, okay, I'm done, I'm too old for that. And it's not how it works, especially Jiu-Jitsu gives you the opportunity to go to compete in different divisions, Master 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I wouldn't be surprised in a couple of years, Master 8 will come soon, just because of the growth. You know, at the beginning, as far as I know, used to be just Master 1 and 2. I'm talking about 30 years ago, right? And it wasn't even Master, they call, well, Master, and then it would go to Senior 1, Senior 2, and stuff like that. And 2012, that's the one that have the very first Master Worlds, and still Master Worlds in seniors. And I think 2014 or maybe 15, I'm not sure, but around that time, they start changing to World Masters and put Master 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think that the Master crowd appreciates not to be called Senior 1 or 2. So I feel this sounds better, being called the Masters. And that's about it, man. And also, if you want to learn more about Jiu-Jitsu Tribe, check out at Jiu-Jitsu Tribe on Instagram or jiujitsutribe.org to learn more about the organization, how you want to get involved, possibly do some type of fundraiser and support the organization. So now stay with Thalys Pontes. Thalys, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so very much, Gustavo. I really appreciate it. It's a privilege to be here with you.
Awesome, man. We had a chance to connect a few years ago, right before you won the Worlds as a brown belt. And that's when we started talking a little more. And you got a beautiful journey, and awesome to see also to you starting your entrepreneurship journey, school owner. So tell me a little bit, how is the school right now? So about 3.5 years in, right?
Yes, exactly. So the school right now is in the best chapter ever. Basically, when I start in a very small space, 1,200 square foot with 6 kids. That's how I start. And then time goes on, we keep doing a lot of good work and putting a lot of passion, being compassionate and patient with the kids. I developed the school in a way kind of different. I developed the kids program first, and then I try to get the parents of them to join us so the parents can understand what I'm teaching to the kids. And then the school grow little by little. And then now I moved to, like 2 months ago, I moved to a very big space that is 4,300 some square foot. I feel like I was living in a small, comfy apartment and I moved to a giant mansion. So it's going very well. We passed 100 students a while ago, and everything is just blowing apart to make it better. I have now 8 kids program. In January, we're gonna become 11 different kids program. We have 2 program for adults, 1 program for women's only. Everything is just shiny bright. Thanks God.
Man, that's awesome. And man, one thing that I always talked with friends of mine who owns academies is the importance of kind of having in your case, your wife, Abby, being part of it. It's a huge, huge influence to have someone, because there would be no way we'd be able to do that by yourself, right? And
Oh,
having that, we talk with Bruno too about it, like Petra, she is incredible. My wife, Carissa, she helps, all the time. You know, she's highly involved. So having the business and the wife involved, a partner involved, it's amazing.
Yeah, I feel really blessed because when I finally met Abby in my life, we get connected super well, and then we both have similar dreams. We want to be a world champion in IBJJF. We want to be the best athletes in the world, and then on the journey, we decide that we would like to own our academy together, and then we travel all over America. I travel all over the world in 21 countries, fighting, gain the knowledge to become who I am in jiu-jitsu and to become who I am as a person. And then I always seek to become the best son possible to my mom. And I think she saw that and she gave me the opportunity to be her husband. And I believe she's a blessed human. I told her a few minutes ago, you are an angel that God brought me in my life. And definitely I say that too. Without her, I would not have all the success that I have. All the things that I accomplished the best in my life was thanks to her, to help me be patient, to help me be kind, to help me to understand that the world is not just by power, it's by love that we accomplish the best things.
That's awesome. And one of the things too that people who are listening right now, we're going to talk about your journey, where you came from Brazil. But one of the things that people listen, we have listeners from all over the world, not just in the United States, even people from Brazil want to practice English. They listen to. But one of the things that many times here in the United States, sometimes people don't realize that for example, in your case, you're in Brazil, you're doing jiu-jitsu. It's kind of like, uh, that's it, dude. You know, like I have to make it happen. You know, jiu-jitsu was your way out. And for the most part here in US, you try jiu-jitsu, things don't work. Okay, you have other opportunities. We can go look for a different career, a job. And in Brazil, it's things are more complicated, especially when you come from a low income area and you made all the effort to come to the US as a teenager, not knowing English, not knowing anything about the culture. And it takes a lot of courage to just, it's interesting because it's not sometimes the courage, like you're so naive, you have no idea where you're going to face. It's just like, sure, yeah, I'm gonna go, but you have no idea how difficult it's going to be, right? So let's talk about that transition of first, how was growing up in Brazil, talk a little bit more about your background, and eventually we talk, about the transition. But tell me a little bit more growing up in Brazil.
So while I grown up in Brazil, I would like to say first, I just become who I am thanks to my mom because she never give up on me. Like the times that I was living in Brazil, I even have goosebumps to talk about it. But I born and raised in a place very poor, which for the Americans maybe will be called ghetto, but for us will
Mm-hmm.
be called favela, periferia. But I born and raised there. My entire family, my grandma had 15 kids. I had around like 60 to 70 cousins because all my uncles and aunts, they make so many kids. And then I grown up living in my grandma house or in a very small house that was like rent and all the situation of living in a favela that it was really, really, really struggle. But all the day, every single days that I go to sleep, that I look around or that I wake up in the morning and I look around, I always knew that was not my place. I don't burn to be there. I don't burn to live that life experience. And my mom, especially, she always told me too, like, you are not everyone. Every time I come home, like, oh, but everyone does that. She was like, you are not everyone. You are different. You are unique. You're going to be amazing. You're going to inspire so much people to become the best version of themselves, because I always believe, like since when I get started in jiu-jitsu, I always believed that I would become something great, that I would not be like my dad, that I would not be like my uncles, that I would not be like my cousins. I always knew that. And so much people of my family say that I would be like them, but I always had that what people would call haters. I always use that haters energy to become better. And one thing that helped me so much when I was like 15 years old, I almost lost my mom. And my grandpa told me that if I keep going on the journey that I was going towards to, I would lost my mom and everything good that I have. So it was better I change quick. So and then I was like, yeah, I have to change tracks. And then I changed tracks and I started jiu-jitsu. I was 11 to 12, but Jiu-Jitsu, like you don't make much money. Truly you don't make money in Brazil being a child, 12 years old, white belt in Jiu-Jitsu. You don't make any money on it. So I was trying to find different ways to do it and to help my mom. So when I was 12, I was white belt. I compete some tournaments really fast. My first tournament I had 6 months and then I won, and then I saw my mom really proud of me. And that don't happen for a long while that my mom was proud of me. So that was very remarkable for me. And when I saw she was proud, when I go back home, I showed the gold medal to my grandma. She was really proud. And then I saw that was like that was unique. Like I never saw that much, you know. So and then I was like, that's what I want to do for forever. And I just keep training, keep fighting, trying to get the resources from many different champions all over Ribeirão Preto and surrounding cities, and traveling all over São Paulo state to get knowledge. And then that's how I got to Cicero Costa.
How old were
And
you when you went there?
15 years old. I was 15 years old when I went to Cicero Costa for the first time. And basically, I went there because of what I mentioned earlier. Like, I almost lost my mom. And then I saw my life was like a mix of so many different things. Kind of like the desktop was full of stuff and was not organized, you know? So I had to organize my brain and focus, like laser focus in something to become better in life. So I believe that I could be great in jiu-jitsu, because in jiu-jitsu I could exhale all the anger, I could exhale all the frustrations, I could exhale all those traumas to grown up in a favela and live all the things that I passed through. So I used to say that jiu-jitsu is the place that I get the most close to God, because I feel like super powerful. I feel that nobody gonna have more power than me once I'm fighting, you know, because I put all the energy that I have inside into each grip. Like I put truth in the grips that I make, you know. So I think that was a big impact for me in my life. And then when I went to Cicero Costa, I knew once I get there, the road was very far away for I become world champion, because I was not great at all when I get to Cicero Costa. Everybody there was black belt, was so many guys world champion. Everybody there was like super great champions. And even in the colored belts, I grown up with Thalys Pontes, Diego Pato, Jonas Andrade, Iago George, Thiago Barros. I grown up with those guys. So for me, it was really hard for training, you know. So I knew the journey was far, but I knew I could make it in my own time. I could make it. And that's something that Cicero Costa teaches a lot about it. He don't teach us techniques, but he teaches life lessons that stick with me until now. And basically when that happened and I saw that like I can do this, I can become world champion, I can be the best. So I come back home and I told to my mom, I'm gonna go to Cicero Costa, I'm gonna live there, and I only gonna come back one day to pick you up and bring you with me to a better life, a better world, which that's what I'm about to do.
Yeah.
But I'm going to transform everything. I'm going to transform our lives. I'm going to transform myself. I'll be the best son in the planet for you. I'm going to be the reason that everybody of our family, they look up to me and want to be good. Maybe not in jiu-jitsu and whatever they want to be, but they will going to have the knowledge that is possible to be good. Don't have to just go to the crime or go to drugs or all the other things that they do, you know, which I'm very grateful to be who I am today, and all the dreams that I have as a child, I make it through everything and so much more. Thanks God.
Yeah, man, let's talk a little bit more about how was the environment at Cicero, because many of the listeners may not even know who Cicero Costa is, by the way. Incredible instructors who uh, I don't I I don't really never sat down and talked with them and exchange ideas, and but I can see that as a guy with a huge heart that opens his school, people to go there and live at the school, for people who know too, the Meow brothers live at the school there too. Leandro Lo train at the school, so definitely it's a champions factory. You're surrounded by, as you mentioned, extremely knowledgeable and tough competitors. So tell me a little bit, how was living there? How was you even the every day being a young kid? How do you even eat? How does that work?
So when I get out of my house, I was 15 years old. I went to live in a city close by São Paulo with one guy from a social project that is affiliate from Cicero Costa. His name is Anderson Mello, which that guy is an angel that came to my life until today. He helped me so much with many things. But I went to live with him, and then I was training that social project that is affiliation from Cicero. And then I started to get very good. And then he was like, okay, you have to go to Cicero Costa because there will be the best train for you. So then I was like, okay. So that guy, he was helping me a little bit, but he put some rules. He said, you cannot get a girlfriend and you cannot go to the parties. You have to just train. And then I was like, okay. And I had in my mind that it was really hard for my mom. She used to work in three jobs. Today she work in two jobs, but
Mm.
uh, it was really hard for her. So I knew that I could not depend on her financially. So basically how I was getting the money to pay for the place where I was staying or to the food, I was going to the tournaments with the boys in the weekends and win the open class so we can make the money to pay for the place where we live and to buy food, you know. And so many days we went to sleep with belly yelling, hungry, you know, but a lot of the other days, that's something that I truly miss, that struggle a little bit, because today, like now I have a big plate of food right beside me now, but
Mhm.
uh, I truly miss not the hungry, definitely, but I truly miss the times that I was there in Cicero Costa. Used to be so many, like the guys that today is the superstars of jiu-jitsu. We was all teenager boys, young, hungry, with not much understanding how it's going to be tomorrow. But about today, we're going to train 3 times a day. That's what Cicero Costa asked us to do. You have to do 3 times a day jiu-jitsu. And after, you guys go to the house and rest and talk and study and do your best to come back tomorrow ready for 3 times a day again. And it was really hard because we trained so much. And then we go to the museum, do run in the stairs and do so many pull-ups in the bars that was there free because we could not pay for a gym membership, stuff like that. And when get to the end of the day, we sit down together with a big pot of pasta and not meat on it, just pasta and sometimes soy sauce, you know, pasta and soy sauce in one big pan, and then like maybe 10 to 15 forks, and then everybody sharing forks inside of the pan and eating because we don't have a better way to do it. And then sometimes when we go to the tournaments and win the open class, we always try to get foods from the tournaments. We had one guy, you maybe know him, Ali Kach. Today he live in
Mhm.
a, he work in IBJJF, but he had a tournament there that saved our lives so much. He changed so many people's life. He helped so much. All the champions that we see today in jiu-jitsu passed through him, and he helped them to feed them, because Ali Kach had a tournament in São Paulo that people to enter in the tournament was 1 kilograms of food to enter. And then we go to the tournament, work in the setup, work in the tournament, fight in the tournament, juvenile and adult class and open class. And then after we work in the tournament, work in the breakdown, and then we get food of the tournament and bring home. And like, even I have a cute story about it, because I remember when I was living at Cicero Costa, a school or in the house, but both of it. In the school was very cold water, very, very cold water, and don't even have paper, no, toilet paper. Like, so
Mhm.
many times you go trade there and you feel the adrenaline, you go to the restroom, you don't have toilet paper, and then you freak out because you have to cold shower, and then you have like so many monsters waiting to smash your soul there, you know. So it was really hard. And in the house the same, like after you get out of so hard trainings, you get to the house and you sleep in like a very tiny foam a bed, which was like not even that great. Everyone have back injuries because of that, definitely. And the water there to shower was really cold. In the house was 2 rooms for between 25 to 40 people. Close by the Brazilian nationals was 2 rooms to like 40 boys, teenagers, adults that come from all over the place, like so many people from São Paulo interior, Manaus, Amapá, Rio de Janeiro, like so many people come to Brazilian nationals. And because Cicero has a big heart, he opened the school and the house there for everyone. Everybody go there to sleep for free. So and then was like too much people in there. And then it was a struggle for real because it was only one restroom, only one toilet, only one
Sheesh.
shower for like 30 boys. It was a struggle for real. And like for the young ones, they don't have a turn to go shower. They don't have a turn to go do a number two or stuff like that because they was, how Cicero say, life is, in English would be, life is hard for who is soft, life is easy for who is tough. But in
Yeah.
Portuguese it's, a vida é dura para quem é mole, mas a vida é mole para quem é duro.
Mhm.
So the young ones, the teenagers, are like me, I was 14 in the time that I got there. You don't get a turn to go shower. You don't get a turn to go in the restroom. You don't get a turn to go on the stove and try to cook, which the stove was four mounts in the
Mhm.
stove, but only one or two works. And the black belts are using, so you cannot use it. So the struggle was real. But it was fun because that struggle made us, the boys that was there, to get together in such a deep level, that example today I live my dream, and now those boys living the dreams as well. Like I have my own school, and it's so wonderful. My brother Thalys Suarez have his own school in Australia. My brother Jonas have his school in Barcelona, Spain. Borel have his own school in Switzerland, and like we are living the dream today, thanks God. But everyone is separate, living they own designed dream. But
Mhm.
that struggle made us very, 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 very powerful and very, very good together. Because after Taliesin and Jonas start to travel all over the world, they give us the password, and then that's how I get to travel to 21 countries with them. And then when we came to America, everything just, the whole world opened the door for us, and then we shine bright because we was super tough. It's just a matter of get the opportunity, just put me there and I'll show you who I am.
Mhm.
That's why we all shine. That's how we get success.
So let's talk about the transition, the time that you came to the United States, and how was for you just arriving here. See, I can tell that my first international trip was to the United States, and at first I knew that at some point I was going to leave Rio. I wasn't going to live there. There was so many schools everywhere. I used to teach in a small little fitness gym, and not that great of neighborhood. And I'm like, man, there's no way I'm going to be able. So I thought I was going to have to move to a different state. I didn't think I was going to go abroad. This is like mid 90s. So it's a different time, right? That when you came. And but at the same time, when I did have the opportunity to travel, as soon as I land in the United States, I'm looking around like, dude, the streets are clean. People respect the light. They stop at the light. You just feel safer. So, and I thought to myself, dude, I can easily live here. And how was for you, Lynn? I don't know. Where did you go before the United States? Did you have any international trip before? No.
No, that was my first one
Oh
as well.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
How was it when you landed here?
So first was kind of like a shock because I never saw something like this. And I remember when I was child, I used to sit down in the streets there in Brazil, especially in front of my grandma house, and like see people dying from left and right. And sometimes I just playing with my friends, and then people just come and shoot each other, and see people dying all the time, see that many bad things happen every day in the streets, and especially at nighttime, so many people walking like zombies and like really scary stuffs for real. When I came here the first time, I came by myself. I was 16 years old. I had $70, and the only word that I knew how to speak in English was umbrella. Then I got to here
That's
with
2016,
2017. It was
17.
a little bit before my birthday and a little bit before World Championship, the 2017 Worlds. So I arrived here in Orange County, Brea, California.
Mm-hmm.
And I went there because my brother Jonas Andrade gave me the opportunity to stay in the academy there. So I arrived there. I don't knew nobody there. I don't had like no access to English because like where I come from, nobody speak English. I think I was one of the first ones to do that. And then I got to Brea, there was one academy that all the boys from Cicero Costa sleep in there to stay there for awards and stuff like that. And now people from all over the world. There's kind of like the Cicero Costa in America, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to there in the daytime and then I look around. I was like, man, this looks like I'm inside of a movie, you know? And I remember to when I was little, I used to sit down and think about there is a place better than this. There is a place that is like the streets are nice, the streets are clean. You know how you say the people are good to one another, the people help one another. You know, there is a place in this world. I just don't know where it is. But when I got to here, I figured out this is the place, you know. I was like, everything here is so beautiful, everything here is so nice. But for me, coming from the struggles that I come from, that point of my life, 2017, was the best chapter ever, you know? So I was like, that's wonderful. So then I start training there. All the people from Cicero Costa arrive. All the people from Unity Jiu-Jitsu arrive. And the guys start to get together and the training was amazing. So we was there training. We compete the world championship for the first time. I was fighting the IBJJF Worlds. It was such a wonderful experience for me. I felt like I was living the dream, you know, and then I was so happy. And then I remember right afterwards, I get my ticket to be here maybe like 4 weeks. And then my ticket was get to about to expire. And then I look to Diego Pato and then I say, hey Pato, you think you can call my mom and talk to my mom that you're going to be here as well? So, and then I can stay here with you. And then she's gonna be much happy if I stay with you. Then I say to her that I was gonna stay by myself. And then he was like, definitely. So he called my mom and talked to my mom. It was like he's 1 year older than me. And we was there. But the reason got me to stay here, we was talking and laughing after training and then I was telling them, boys, like we're passing hungry in Brazil. What about we pass hungry here? We're just gonna stay here, and here we make money. We go to 99 cents, and then we can buy so much food for $1, you know, and that's so much easier than go to Rodão, that is a supermarket that is close to Cicero Costa. Everything was expensive there for us, you know. And then the boys was like, yeah, we should stay. And then I was like, let's see how long we can stay. So and then we figured out we could stay 6 months. Until
Mm-hmm.
that point, I don't even knew I could only stay 6 months. You know, we don't
Mm-hmm.
have knowledge. We just wish to come here and fight words and be world champion. That's the only vision we get, you know. So Pato talked to my mom. My mom allowed me to stay and then I stay. So and then I start to understand something that truly is is inside of my brain since when I got to here. Like so many of the Brazilians, they are wonderful in jiu-jitsu, but they do not know how to speak English. So then they lose so much opportunities
Mm-hmm.
because I saw one black belt world champion that is one very good friend of mine. The person was trying to ask him for private class, but he don't knew how to answer. I understood a little bit because I was always watching stuffs in English. I was watching the people that is like big champions that lives in America. They do interviews in Portuguese. Most especially, I would say Romulo Barral because I love him so much. And then he always have interviews that is in English, but with the description in Portuguese. So I always look to his stuffs. And then I understood because the guy was asking him for private class, but he don't know how to answer. So and then I was like, man, if I speak English, I can teach my techniques to those people and make money. So and then I went to one guy. Afterwards, I was there just training to compete other tournaments. So and then I get to one guy and I say, I write down in the Google Translate, sir, if I teach your son Jiu-Jitsu through the Google Translate, can you pay for my lunch? And then he was like, what? Yes. And then I was like, okay. So and then I went to this boy. His name is Nolan. He just become black belt. He's winning a lot of tournaments. He'll be world champion one day. You can write down his name. Actually, he already wins. He won worlds as a blue belt, juvenile, and I think in the purple belt, something like that. But this boy, amazing. I started teaching private class for him, but the only thing I knew how to say in that moment was hand, here, 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 look, here, 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 look. That's how I teach him private class in exchange of lunch. And then I got one adult in the night class that I clean his car in exchange of a pizza from 7-Eleven at nighttime. So that was my dinner. So, and then I was like, okay, I have everything that I need. I have lunch and dinner. So, and then there was another guy that I started teaching private class for him that he, in the weekends that normally don't have class, he bring me to the restaurant and in exchange, I teach him private class. So, and then I was starting to exchange private class in exchange for food because that was my main expenses. And then time is starting to pass. I start to work in the academy, holding a sign in front of the academy in the streets, like Brea Jiu-Jitsu is here, Brea Jiu-Jitsu is here, and flipping the sign in front of the cars and stuff. And I remember many times my friends making fun of it because they was like, oh, instead of you rest, you're gonna go there, flip the sign and be dancing around in front of the academy. And then I was like, man, every 2 hours, $20. And I go to 99 cents and buy 20 things. That's everything I need. And that's how I start to my entrepreneur in America, you know? So that was pretty good. And then I fought the kids world championship. I won the kids world championship. I won Pan Americans from IBJJF on Friday. And then I traveled to London on that same day and I win in the next day the Grand Slam London from AGP. And then from there I travel to Poland, Kazakhstan, and then Dubai. And then I start to go to Rome, Italy, Spain, Barcelona. So and then I start to travel all over the world thanks to Jonas, Talison, and Papa Joe. And then I just travel all over the world and gain sponsors. And then my life started to blow all the way, you know. And then I came back to Brazil for the first time after I came to America. And it was very sad. It was very sad when
It's a
I,
culture shock back home. You have a culture shock when you come to the US, and then you go home, it was like, wait a minute, so now it's a culture shock back home.
yes, it was a very sad and tough experience. And I get to there, it was like very hard. It felt like I fall inside of a hole, dark, full of zombies, you know. So it was like really hard for me. And then I see the people that I love, I see the people that I like, they in the same point that I left them, and even
Mm-hmm.
lower. Because before I came to America, I was not going to my city. I was just living in São Paulo because I was like, man, I'm gonna be very focused to win the words, you know. I don't want to go back home. So it's a really long time I was not going back home. And when I go back home, I saw the people worse than they was before. So then I was like, I don't want to be here. That showed me that I cannot be back to stay here, you know. So I had to build the money back to come back to America, and then I built it up by working tournaments, doing seminars. So many people there from my professor Marlon Medeiros, his students helped me. There's one lady that I even maybe she's not gonna understand this podcast, but I'm gonna mention anyway because she was enjoying my life. Her name is Milena. She own a sweet store, and I remember she paid me 500 reais monthly. And man, that changed my entire brain of like, I can do it, because before I don't even think I could do it because I don't had money to get there. When
Mhm.
this lady came to my life, she told me, I'm gonna give you the support to get to there. Once you get there, you make whatever you have to do, you know? So she paid me 500 reais and that helped me so much. Then I came back to America and then I gained sponsorship with Elite and then I start to grow so much. And then I started to become like super great in Jiu-Jitsu, and that's when I turned 18 years old. I become ranked number one in the world as a blue belt, and then I win everything in the IBJJF with that. And then I got the opportunity to move to New York and train at Unity Jiu-Jitsu. So and then I take it. I say I'm going to train with Miao brothers, Murilo Santana, Jonas Andrade, Thaleson Soares, Felipe, Jefferson Guarese, Italo Moura, Sebastian. I say I'm going to and Juni. So I went to. I will stay there. I lived there with them for like almost 2 years. That was like my home base. And from New York, I was just traveling all over America. That was the time that I met Abby. But I just travel around and learn from the best life feathers in the planet. And then I just learned from the best fighters in the world, getting all those knowledge. And I remember to be in New York thinking, from this point forward, I have to open my academy. But I was just a blue belt, but I was like, I have to open my academy. So, and then I start to make notes on my phone. Everything I see great in people's academy, I make a note. Everything that I see bad in people academy, I make notes because I knew I was going to open my one. And especially because I remember to be seeing Paulo and João Miao, multiple times black belt world champion, and some other guys that was world champions. I saw how was their lifestyle, and then I was like, okay, I have to make something similar as that or better. I cannot go below than that. So I had the blessed opportunity to get connected to like Bruno Bastos and so many other like huge names of jiu-jitsu that is amazing champions that is already older, that already live and pass through what I'm passing through. So then I just start to seek those people and gain the knowledge from them. And then I got promoted to purple belt by Paulo Miao. No, I remember the purple belt was from Cicero Costa, Talison, and Jonas. And then brown belt was from Paulo Miao. And then I got promoted to brown belt from Paulo Miao. And then on that moment, I was like, yes, now is the time that I'm gonna open my academy. Because I was ranked number one in the world as a blue belt, ranked number one in the world as a purple belt. I win everything that I was fighting. And then it was like I was just winning so many medals, so many medals. And then bank account was on red, and I was not making nothing. And the purple belt, I connect with Abby so much that we was like traveling all over America in the time of the pandemic. I was here. There's one very incredible history, but maybe I say that later. But there was a time in America that I was traveling all over America in a van. Me and Abby, we live in a van for 1 year and 3 months. We was living in a van, traveling around to compete and teach seminars in private classes. And I was like, how we winning everything and we are not making money to make a better life? It's not worthy to just compete. It's not worthy to just win. There's something more that we have to do that we don't know. Let's figure out that. So and then I start talk with the older guys, the champions that was already passed through everything what I was doing, but do have a great life. Which that's when I met you, which that's when
Mhm.
I met Bruno Bastos, it was in that chapter. But it is so much to say. That's why you're
Mhm.
gonna see the movie. Like pretty soon is gonna be released the first episode of my movie because I have so much to share. I have so much to say. My life was incredible, amazing, and we're gonna be like that.
Yeah, man, you got an incredible inspirational story. I feel like for people who are listening right now, there's something that I always like to say that there's nothing more motivating than necessity. You know what I'm saying? Like when you cannot eat, like you get motivated pretty quick. You know what I mean? And that is sometimes people ask me about, what do you think? Do you think other countries will kind of like pass Brazil as far as winning more championships and stuff like that? And I always think about it like, man, there's so many incredible competitors, international competitors, right? It's growing more and more. But I feel that the necessity aspect, it's huge on a third world country.
Yeah.
Like I said, like you're fighting for a different reason. Everyone fights for their own why. And that's something we're recording this in December 2024. I just finished writing my second book, and it's all about mental preparation, and it's actually called Inner Discovery for Outer Success, 10 Rules to Integrate Authenticity and Performance in Jiu-Jitsu and Beyond, meaning things that the lessons that you learn in jiu-jitsu competition that you apply in your life. And there's one chapter that I talk about the necessity and the passion. That's something that it's a very famous coach in Brazil, Bernardinho, is one of the most successful volleyball coaches ever in sports in general. He's incredible, and he talks about that, how when you have first you need to have the passion, because like I want to do this, right? So the passion needs to be there. Now the necessity, it's not when you have this necessity of that you're hungry for success because you need to, like, you're literally hungry. That's an incredible necessity to have, but not all athletes have that. But you can turn the necessity in whatever cause you attach, and you attach yourself to that cause, and you make that your necessity to become the best version, to become or whatever. And it's not because I'm hungry, that's why. No. Each one can create their own necessity. So for you, I because you're so young, I can absolutely see, like, and I'm gonna say like out loud, so there's something for you to just put a little seed, in your mind of something in the future. I can absolutely see you working as a public speaker and moving a little bit away from jiu-jitsu in a way. I'm not saying you stay in jiu-jitsu, but you have the opportunity to speak to a company, to speak to other, like a different crowd, a little bit away from jiu-jitsu. That's something that I like when I get involved, when I talk like away, like life and stuff like that, having the inspirational speaker side of it. So that's something for you to like just keep in your mind, because I think that's something that can naturally happen. I remember the reason why I'm saying this, because I have to say, I don't know, maybe close to 20 years ago, maybe I was in a holiday party, and then this guy was talking with me, and then he asked me, a very successful entrepreneur, multimillionaire, and then he talks, so tell me about your journey. I was saying, and then he goes like, have you thought about being a motivational speaker? Like, what do you mean? Because when we're going through the stuff, we not even realize that we have like, man, you got a great story, but we don't even think about, we're just doing it, just surviving, you're just moving, you don't think about it. And I said like, what do you mean? Like, why? I was like, dude, we have here in the United States, one of the best nations in the world, people with so many opportunities. Come someone from outside, come here with nothing. From this nothing, you create multiple businesses. And what excuse do they have? You know what I mean? For you, like, you come here, I didn't know what, like, social security, like, what is a social security? Do you have a credit? What is credit? Like, I didn't know anything, you know what I mean? And especially in my time, there's no barely any internet. 1999, there's like internet, people start talking about it, so this is something for you, like, just in the future, something that can naturally develop with even like students that have a company, and then you go there and speak, even if it's for free, just to get your experience out, and they can really open the doors for other areas, you know what I mean? Or even like in Brazil. So that's when my entrepreneurial DNA kind of kick in, of like thinking of opportunities that you can have. And I feel that a lot of people who are listening right now, like, would agree, that you can definitely have an incredible story to be like, dude, if I can do it, absolutely you can do it. You're born in the United States, you have a social security, you have citizenship, you know what I mean? Like, that's why, that's the beauty of United States. I mean, it's the land that everyone wants to come because there are opportunities. That's something that you realize. I realized too, like, wait a minute, dude, there's a lot of opportunities here, you know? And I feel it kind of hurts me in a way when I see like a lot of Americans taking for granted what they have here because they never traveled. You know, I feel that a lot of people in the like in the military, they're very patriot because they travel and they see what's out there. They see the mass that is in wars and stuff, and they're like, dude, this here is incredible. You know what I mean? And people take for granted how good they have here until they actually get to experience. So there's a guy that I follow. His name is Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, and he came from Belarus when he was a child too. So he talks about being an immigrant is like a superpower because you come from a place that are like, dude, wait a minute, like I can get so much better than where I was, you know, and that motivates you. So I feel that this is something that in the future your life can definitely kind of lead to, especially now being a business owner, learning more throughout your journey. I think this is something. I don't know if you did you ever think about this? No.
Sometimes yes, but I have so much in my plate now, so I leave that
Yeah.
for the future. But one of the main things on this line of thought that you were saying is exactly in the words that you say. I'm very customized to listen people saying that to me, like your life is such a wonderful testimonial. You have to spread that to the planet and share that to the people. So when I a funny history about it, but is a true fact. When I was a blue belt, I was 18 years old. That second time I went, no, that first time I went to Brazil from America, that I had that really shock in the culture to see my family the way that they was and see the people
Mm-hmm.
I love like that. I went to a church, and then in the church, because I went to the church because of one guy that helped me. So he said, oh, let's come to church with me. I said, okay. So then I went to the church, but I had a question in my mind that I was wishing and seeking for the answer, but I was not figuring out the answer. So then I went to the church, and there was one guy singing in the church, and while he was singing the quotes of the music, it was the answer of what I had in my mind. And he pointed at me. He was singing like this, and he pointed at me in the moment that he said the answer. And then my brain blew it. And then I was like, wow, that was incredible. Thanks God. And then I melt and cry. The guy was just like, are you okay? I was like, yes. Ah. And then I keep crying, because for me it was like my answer. I was praying so much for that. And that was my answer. So, and then I was like, okay. And then 1 week after, I went to that same church to do a jiu-jitsu training with the guy that brought me there. And then because he was just private class student, he was not going to groups because you know how it is in Brazil. So, and then I was training with this guy, and then he said, "Oh, I have someone to present you for." I say, "Okay." So and then he showed me to Nathan. He's like, "Hey, Nathan, this is Thalys Pontes. He's such a wonderful boy, amazing champion in jiu-jitsu. I helped him since he was a little, and I really think that you should put that idea that you have about make a movie of a motivational movie." With him, because he just become kids world champion, and he's going to be an amazing champion in jiu-jitsu. And if you start recording him now, you're going to have all the track from blue belt all the way to black belt, and you're going to make his movie. And then Nathan just look at me, he's like, oh, let's talk about it and let's make it. And then the guy just fall in love with the idea of make a movie of my life because he trusts the other guy that was talking, so. And then we exchanged some messages. He said, hey, Thalys, I would like to go record you in your house, and you in where you grown up, and see the environment and stuff. So I say, when? He was like, tomorrow. I said, no. He was like, why not? I said, because you cannot come to where I live. He was like, why not? I said, you crazy. You don't want to come here. And then he was like, no, I go. I said, wait, let me talk to some people first, and then after you come. So I went to the guys that, the guys that control everything everywhere there where I
Mm-hmm.
live. And then I talked to the guys, hey, there's gonna be some guys that have money. They're gonna come here to record my movie. Please don't do nothing to them, you know. There are people, very good people, they're helping me, and they're gonna make a movie of my life. Make sure you guys don't allow nobody to do nothing about it with them, because this is going to help change the generations in the future, you know. And don't do nothing to them. Put some people there to be like in security and stuff. So it was really funny, but I had to go a few blocks to meet them,
Mhm.
surround of people from, you know what I mean? And then we pick up these guys in the production on my motorcycle, and then I come without capacete and everything, and then I drove the guys to my grandma house, because I was like, they're not going to my house. So and then I bring them to my grandma house. That was in the, it was like outside of it. It was not in
Mhm.
the middle of it. It was a little bit outside of it, but it was in the middle of all the favela stuffs, you know? So it was really funny because he put the cameras, the tripod to record my life, and then was my grandpa, one guy that I have as a godfather, and then one of the guys, one of the most powerful guys in that scenario in Brazil. He was there because he helped me a lot too. And he was one of the persons to tell me, Thales, this is not for you. You have to fight, and I'm gonna help you to accomplish all your dreams about fighting, because I don't want to see you here. I don't want to see you in this world, you know? So, and then he is in the movie as well. And then was so many guys from the crime behind of the cameras just to make sure everything's okay. It was so funny, but it was very important. So this guy from that is making my movie, he record my a little bit of my life when I was blue belt, and then he record a lot when I was brown belt. And he came to here when I first opened the first academy, record my routine, my day, how was the life experience, which in that time was a little bit before I got injured on my neck, that I almost lose the movements of my legs and everything. But it was a little bit before of it. So life was really hard. I was living a $600 rent, a studio. It was very tough. But he record that, the beginning of the first academy, the growth of it a little bit, recording me and my kids going to a kids tournament, a local tournament, and then my kids destroying everybody. I fought there too, and I eat the guy that I was fighting. And then we win as the best academy here, which we are the best academy here, but we there in the tournament, we win the tournament about it. And then we came back home, record more. And then a few months ago he came back, and he record the new tap, and he record how my life it is as a brown belt with all the blessings that I'm living. And he record as well the part of the how was the recovery for me from my neck injury, which was really tough. But it's becoming a movie pretty soon. I think in 2025, I believe 100% we're going to release the first episode, and we're going to be 7 episodes. And after we release all 7, we're going to make everything one to do one big movie. And that's just the first one. And it's going to be a movie so you guys can watch all the
Man,
things that I'm
that's
talking about.
that's incredible. It's really cool to be able to see the early days, the early
Yeah.
footage. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's absolutely, it's really cool. So throughout now, how old are you now?
Oh, now I'm 24, but feels like 40
Yeah.
sometimes.
So do you, I don't know if you got in the habit of possibly getting extra knowledge, meaning reading book, listening to audiobooks or podcasts. Did you get into that kind of personal development route?
Oh, I would say when I first hurt my neck, I passed through the most struggles I ever passed through mentally. That was really hard. That was, I would say, the second most hard moment of my life. The first one was back in Brazil when I was little, but the second hardest moment of my life was when I injured my neck. And then it was like really dark. It was really hard. So, and then I don't accept that I had depression and stuff like that. But definitely after I study and search about it, I feel like, yeah, that's a lot of things that I was passing through, you know. But it was really difficult for me. So I hear, and not because we are doing this podcast, you know this because I told you so many times, but I hear so many of your podcasts, especially because you have the podcast that talks about jiu-jitsu, and what I want to do in my entire life is jiu-jitsu, you know, and you
Hmm.
get all the best champions in the world into your podcast, and they talk about before, during, and after their life, you know. So it's really blessed what the work you do, and so many other podcasts that the people do about jiu-jitsu that I follow as well. So I more listen because I stopped school when I was 11 years old. That was when I first stopped school. And then in Portuguese, like I can read English much better than Portuguese,
Hmm.
honestly. But speak as well. I feel like my English is so much better than my
It
Portuguese.
is, man. Has improved a lot since since we met, for sure.
Yes, because in English I don't have slang, I don't have bad words. Like I cut zero bad words of my life. Like in my school, there is a culture that nobody can say bad words. If they say bad words, they have to do like 50 push-ups, but
Mhm.
people don't do it because I tell them this is a good place. But to be part of the main topic you say, mental development, funny you say that too, because I just had my first English class last Tuesday. I have in since 11 years old, I have not sit down with a pen and a book to study because I was like, I'm going to be world champion and I have to train and just train, which that's not the best mentality. I
Mhm.
advise all my kids, you have to study because you guys cannot be a sniper. It's not a good
Mhm.
idea to be a sniper when you have just one bullet, you know? If because why I say that, when I hurt my neck, I could not train, I could not fight, and I could not move. And I felt like God took it out jujitsu from me so I can see who I am as a person. So I
Did it
can
happen with training? In training? Or it's
train.
just over? Okay. It was one specific, because sometimes it slowly happened, or was one incident that actually caused.
It was little by little by little by
Hmm.
little, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah.
And then one day I was training and then I got a tight cross face that everything pops. And then I felt like, ouch. And then I went home and then I went to my academy and then I trained with my students, my kids and my adults. And then I went home, lay down, sleep. And in the moment that I was sleeping, I could not move. My neck was hurting too much. And then I just wake up crying and grabbing Abby's like, my love, wake me up, wake me up. I'm having a nightmare. And she was like, no, you are awake. I was like, no, I'm not. My neck is hurting so much. I can't move. So it was horrible. I could not do nothing. I could not stand up and look my toes. I had a very deep injury on my spine that hurt in like three different places, and there like the disc come out and it's pinched one of the disc come out and it's pinched the nerve
The
of my
nerve. Hmm.
spinal cord,
Hmm.
and that was like really tough. And then I called my professor Lucas Lepre, and then I talked to him. I say I need a physical therapist. I need help because I got hurt so bad, and I don't know what to do. I don't know nobody to help me here. So and then he told me to go see his physical therapist, and then I went to see his physical therapist, and then he helped me a little bit to massage around, get a little bit like release the pain a little bit, but he said that I had to go to the hospital to go see it and do MRI and all these things. But I don't had money in that time. Like in
Hmm.
that time, I was getting food from the church because I don't had money to buy food. And then the parents that I have in the first step, they buy used refrigerator and then they was putting food in the refrigerator there at tap so I can eat because we don't I was not teaching a lot of private class. The tap was not making money. We was really in struggle. So the family from tap and the people from the church was helping us. But the main thing about this is uh I felt like I could not do jujitsu. And I thought that I never would be able to be a champion again because of that injury, you know, because I could not train. I could not do nothing, like not even shower well, you know. And then I pray so much. That was the time that I get the most close to God. I pray so much. I study so much the Bible, the parts of overcome. I listen so much of your podcasts and many others. And then it started getting a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. And then I was like, I know God is good. I know God can help me. I'm going I'm going to fight. There was a big broom here. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Uh, there's a motorcycle. But I know God is good. God's gonna help me. So I went to the 2021 Worlds on weight, but with the neck injury. And
Hmm.
then I was like, even in the day before, I was like, I know God gonna unlock my neck and I'm gonna fight tomorrow, you know? So and then I went to the 2021 Worlds with a neck injury. I own weight, I put my gi on, I step on the scale, and then Devont
Hmm.
Johnson from Unity, he looked at me like, Thalys, you're not okay. What happened? I was like, man, I hurt my neck. And then he was like, let's talk about it. And then we talk, and I love him so much. He helped me so much in that moment. Like we talk, and then he was like, I hurt my neck as well, similar as yours, but not that much. And it was, and I was like, okay. So and then I talked to Bruno about it, and then I talked to some other guys that I inspire on, and they was giving me some advices, and then I was trying to be tough and fight anyway. But then Abby told me like, it's better you don't fight next year. And then I called my mom, I cry so much, and then I say, Mom, I don't want you to lose like that. I'm not even gonna get a chance to step on the mat and fight. And she was like, next year you can do it. Next year you're gonna fight, you're gonna win. And then I was like, okay. So then I just don't fight, and that destroyed me even more in my mind. So I was passing through so much struggles like that. And then I focused so much in recover, strengthen my neck, and then I train. And then I felt like the best shape ever, the best chapter ever of my life to fight and win the world. And then I got sick with black mold poison because in the apartment that we was living had so
Wow.
much black mold poison. So and then I got sick with that. I went to fight pains, and then I was like, Abby was like, "We are dying. How you want us to go to fight pains, Thalys?" I was like, "Doesn't matter. If you don't want to fight, you don't fight, but I will fight. I don't want to have that feeling of don't fight no more. I cannot do that one more time. That hurts my mind so much. I cannot do that again." So and then I went to fight, and then I remember my friends telling me like, "Are you okay? How you breathing hard already? You don't even fought yet." I was like, "Man, I can't breathe, but I'm gonna fight." And then I went to the first fight, submit very fast. Second fight, submission very fast. Third fight was with one guy that we fought so many times. And then I get to the reverse close guard that and then I
Hmm.
get to the reverse close guard, toe hook on him, and then submit him. And then I get to the final dying. And then my dad, he works in the IBJJF tournament, and then he was carrying me out of the tournament every fight. And then I was like, oh man, if I die, tell my mom that I love her, but I'm gonna die fighting. And then I went to the final. The guy started to do a blitz on me. I lost everything. And then he choked me. I was like, oh my, it's okay, no problem. At least I fought. And then Abby fought as well. And then we both got second place. And it was like, okay, good. After that, try to recover the best I can, go to sauna and do jacuzzi a lot, swim a lot to get better with my breathing. That's when I connect so much with the breathing from ginástica natural and stuff. So and then I start to get more into that, and jiu-jitsu was being very hard, but I was training with more with my kids because man, let's know how to train with black mold poison in your lungs with Lucas Leopard. That don't make any sense. So
Even
then
if you are healthy or in the best shape of your life, it's still.
no, it's know how to. It's just like incredible, amazing. If God chose to make people perfect in jiu-jitsu, he's one of them. Because man, he have everything what he needs. But then I was like training just sometimes in his academy, training more with my kids because that was the maximum I could do it. And then I would say, man, I'm gonna have to go to fight words. But Bruno Bastos, he have something very different. because like I feel like all the champions in jiu-jitsu that come from Cicero Costa, they become amazing champions, but not with much love, more with like necessity, more with anger, more with like
Hmm.
you have to, there's no way
Yeah.
back. The only way
It's
is
kind of
forward.
like, oh, tough it up. Yeah.
Yeah, but Bruno, he push you hard to make you tough, but he also have something special that feels like love, you know, in a way different that how he talks and the words that he use and how he use and when he use. I think because all the life experience he have, but I told Abby, I said, let's go to Bruno Bastos Academy for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because I feel the best ever when I'm there training and having him there. What he talks to me is like really everything what I need to listen, and he guides me very well. So let's go there. So and then we closed tap. We went to there. The parents support us very much. I'm very blessed with all the students that I have. They always support us in everything. But then we went to Bruno Bastos' school. We stay in his house. And then during the whole day, we were in the academy learning about how to manage the academy. I was learning stuff from Bruno. Abby was learning stuff from Petia. And then we was just
Hmm.
gaining the knowledges, you know, and training a lot. And I'm very grateful for Felipe, Alex, Emily, and all the people that was there to help us train. They're blessed people. I'm very, very grateful for have them in my life. And he told me, "Oh, Robson Moura is coming to here. Gustavo Dantas coming to here." And I was like, "Oh, really?" He was like, "Really?" I said, "It's going to be perfect because I listen Gustavo Dantas a lot. I would love to listen him in person." And then he was like, "Yeah, he's gonna do a seminar for help you guys to prepare for words." I was like, "Wow, perfect." And then he was like, Robson Moura is coming to teach us a seminar. And I was like, really? He was like, yeah. I said, perfect. One of the best life feathers that ever exist in the planet, you know? And I was just so happy for that. And that made my performance on words in 2022 the best performance I ever had in my entire life, because when I passed through your seminar and all the things that you was telling in the seminar felt like it was made for me. I know it was not made for me, it was made for everybody,
Hmm.
but I felt like it was so much made for me because how you was putting my brain organize it, you know? And that conversation we had after, when you sit down with me in the living room and you just asking me questions specific for me and like helping my brain to be positive, and the way you was telling me to set up my mind to fight, and the way that Bruno helping me to set up my mind to fight, I was just like, that's everything what I need, you know. That was very blessed. For I even get emotion to say because that was the best moment of my life in my career. But I'm just like no words to describe how grateful I am for you in that moment, because I need that. I need that so much. And you was a very, very important piece of it. And Bruno the same. All the people in that school, that weeks that I passed through that, you guys can imagine how much struggle I was passing through that moment. And you guys helped me overcome that. And I knew deep inside. I remember when I just got there, I was going from the airport to Bruno's house. He was like, how you think about is going to be the words this year? I told him, uh, Sensei, truly, I don't have gas to fight 8 minutes, nobody. But
Hmm.
I'm going to submit everybody all the way. I'm going to submit everybody. He was like, Thalys, you have to be more realistic because you talk about world championship. Everybody there is the top-notch fighters in the world, you know. You have to think about points, you have to think about strategy, you know. I was like, I can't do that. I have to submit them. I cannot, I cannot fight 8 minutes. And I remember even talk to you about that in the training sessions. I was telling you, no, Gustavo, I'm going to go to the reverse close guard and blow their foot. That's how I'm
Hmm.
going to do, and it happened. I'm so grateful for that moment. That was for me as an athlete, that was the best month of my life. Thanks to you, Bruno, and everybody who was part of it. And Abby, most especially because she never gave up on me on them on those moments. It was
That is
wonderful.
awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Man, Bruno, for people who don't know, Bruno Bastos, his school in Midland, Texas, and very close friend of mine. And man, I like to say that, and it's not even, uh, sometimes I mention to people, like, as far as my friends or people that are close to, he's the most experienced person that I know as far as amount of reps on the mat or the amount of since like 10 years old. I think the longest that he stayed without competing was COVID. And luckily he never had anything like the injuries had. It had some bad ones here and there, but not super major that was surgeries and stuff like that. So that dude loves competing, and he still does. So he's definitely um the most experienced guy that I personally know. I don't know anyone that has competed, and I know that you competed a lot too, So he's been competing as a child, but like he competed on a black belt division with many different generations, like I don't even know. And I started doing the BJJ mental coach stuff like around 2010, and he's one of my ambassadors per se, because of like our close relationship. So a lot of the stuff that was learning, I would share with them, and I learned a lot from him, of course, from all his experience. And I feel that uh, we all have internal battles. We all have our struggles, some more than others, right? But everyone, I tell that no one has a free pass. Everyone has internal battles. Everyone has anxiety. Some people have more than others. And as you mentioned, sometimes different moments of your life and different what you're going through can really absolutely affect, your performance on a mat. So with me, one of the things that I feel that I can relate with people just because um, I struggle a lot mentally. I lost kind of a lot in the beginning, and there's one point that my jiu-jitsu was pretty decent. And it wasn't losing because I was bad, but one of the words that I use a lot in the on my program and with the book too is authenticity, meaning being able to be your best self, the one that how you train you're able to perform. And some people can do this amazingly and flawless, right? And I wish I could say I was, this type of person. There's some people that perform better than they even train, which is something that is a mindset that personally, for my personal journey over the year, and I do this right now, it's like some of the positive affirmations that I suggest even to you, to anyone who's listening. I ingrained in my head that I compete even better than I train. You know what I mean? Like you bring it up a little bit a notch and you're a little bit better. So I try to really ingrain because for so long it was the other way around. I train better, but at the tournament, I play a little safer. I don't want to risk this. I don't want to lose. And having all those mental blocks when I start studying mental preparation, personal development, I start noticing like, wow, I have a lot of mental blocks that I had no idea. I just didn't know until I studied. So that's why I relate a lot with people when they share. And I'm talking about, and it, big time champions, black belt world champions, UFC fighters. Everyone has internal battles. Everyone, So that's the beautiful of like the lessons that I mentioned that we learn in jiu-jitsu that you can bring to your life. You're gonna have your internal battles through your business, for entrepreneurship. Yes, you're going to have internal battles, the doubts. Am I going to do it? Am I going to be able to pay the rent? So now I'm focused on something that sometimes that I have no control. So all those lessons applied. So I felt that over the years, just working on it, and I felt that I started to uh, I connect more, and sometimes even high level competitors that personally, that just from watching them competing, I would give my 2 cents of what I feel that is kind of happening. And then they'll say, like, man, it feels like you kind of know me for a long time. You know what I mean? I was like, well, because I've made those mistakes before too. You know what I mean? So I understand, and you have the different ones in a way. Hobson Mora, I always mention him. as a different guy that, of course, he always trained very well, but I felt that in a tournament, it was even better. Like a little, the speed was a little different. Intensity was, I'm not saying like Superman a lot higher, but just a little bit. That a little bit of intensity changes everything. And we're talking about a guy, when you talk with light feather, I don't think in a black belt, I don't think he has 5 losses ever.
Yeah.
I don't even think that I can count 5. He lost as a featherweight and stuff like that, but as a lightweight, as a light feather, I don't remember many matches that he lost that I can count 5. And especially because he was able to be himself on a mat so flawless. And a lot of my inspiration of competing, I'm 50 years old and I feel like I still have a lot to learn in life. But even competing right now, winning like a big title, whatever, is not gonna change anything in my life at this point. When you're younger, when you're like in a hustle, sure, big results can make impact, can make an impact for you to get sponsors and stuff like that, and that can add some um, a little bit of a pressure in a way that are like, dude, if I win, I get, I can get this, it can get me in a better position and stuff like that. So it does happen. Um, but for me, as a 50-year-old competing, there's nothing's gonna change in my life. If I get a bunch of submissions, I get submitted in the first round. It's not gonna be the first time, So all I want is just have that internal peace that it was me there. It was
Yeah.
me. I was my best there. And anytime I lose, I clap because of like, good for you. I was trained. I don't go to tournament untrained. So if someone beat me, congratulations. You must have worked really hard, because I did. I don't put myself in tournaments. And this is for people listening that sometimes want to go, yeah, I want to go there and compete. And that's totally fine. But when you come from this kind of pedigree, kind of like you came from, sister, you just don't put your name just for the hell of it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You go there, we go there with intentions like, I'm coming here, if possible, to win. I'm coming here to be one of the people who are here to win. I don't come here to participate in a tournament.
Yeah.
There's a video that I put on YouTube. If you guys want to check out too on my channel, the BJJ Mental Coach. I got busier maybe in the past few months getting some content again. I'm getting close to 5,000 subscribers, so it's pretty cool. But I put a video about interesting about like a percentage, like for example, the Master Worlds, or even the Worlds itself, but like the Master Worlds, because my crowd is a lot, the Masters. When you look into a bracket and you have like, dude, 40 people, 40 black belt or whatever, man, there's a lot of people. However, when we talk about, I'm not talking about podium, I'm talking about first place. It's a very small percentage of real contenders. I'm talking like in a very good day, maybe I use it as an example, the Master 4 lightweight. I look and I'm like, dude, there's a bunch of like former adult world champions here. These are real contenders. So that was 15% of the bracket, of like real guys that are like, dude, in a given day, any of these guys can win. Like 15, 20% that's pushing about that. And then you're going to have some of the brackets that we're talking like 5%. That's like 2 guys would be like, you know, how many guys in a Master 6 lightweight are there that can actually possibly beat Megaton? There will be very few individuals on the planet that can pull
Yes.
that off. You know what I mean? They need to come up with a very good strategy. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, for anyone that is listening, I know that my crowd is Masters, and you want to go to Masters, you need to know your expectations. Are you going to be a contender, or are you going to participate? And there's nothing wrong to go and participate, because it's an awesome experience, but you need to have real expectations. You know what I mean? It's not because you went to 2 opens, international opens, and then you won and you have one match here and there, and you're going to go to the Master War is going to win. It's not going to happen. It's not like it doesn't work like that. To especially guys winning worlds 10 times, or see Formiga, you know what I mean? For you to beat that guy, you know how well prepared you need to be. You know how, like, how experienced you need to be. So that is like the master worlds. Every year is getting tougher and tougher. It's the same thing in the adult, but I like to use it the masters because sometimes people go with the unrealistic expectations, especially in the black belt. For everyone who's listening right now, and you're a blue belt right now, and even high 20s, if you love jiu-jitsu and this is something that's going to be in your life for a long time and do enjoy competing, at one point you're going to hit the master's black belt if you want to keep challenging yourself. And that division is going to be big, and it's going to have a lot of real contenders, very tough people. So people need to really reconsider the competing of their expectations, being a contender or being like, I'm coming here. Like anytime I put my name in anything, maybe for not for other people, but in my head, I'm a contender to win. Period. I'm gonna go to my head. If I know I'm not gonna put my name if I don't truly believe, I have a conviction that I'm coming here to win. And if I lose, it's kind of surprise. I'm like, oh shit. Oh, okay. I know that there's people there that can beat me. Of course, everyone's training. There's a lot of tough people. But if you don't really believe that you can pull it off, it's not gonna happen because you're gonna go against someone that is extremely prepared, that have a conviction that they can win. And if you think that you're going against someone like that and you can maybe kind of win, it's not going to happen. And high level, I don't care what sport that is. Imagine someone to be an Olympic champion. Do you think that someone is Olympic champion, they can win? It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Not at all. It's a different type of mindset that you need to breed. So I feel like um in life, in entrepreneurship, and you want to win in life, there's a price to be paid. You know what I mean? There is a price, and it's awesome that you pay like a big price to be where you're at right now. The long journey from where you started to be living in the school, not knowing, having lunch, not knowing if you're gonna have dinner. You know what I mean? Like you say in Brazil, like you sell the lunch so you can buy dinner. Type of deal. It's like you don't know, and you're able to pull that off. You need to have that belief that even when things are not looking good, that it's gonna happen.
It's gonna
You're gonna
happen.
have the internal battles that is it really gonna happen? Dude, I can barely pay my rent. Is it? So those internal battles, that's when the lessons from jujitsu competitions and um not just competition, but training jujitsu, right, can really like help you to push and get your mindset straight. So that's why I'm a big fan of competition, introducing competition to people. Um, Not for them to be competitors, like, dude, I think everyone should experience this once, just to be like, how does it feel? How do you handle under pressure? How do you handle your anxiety when you're there? After that, you decide what you want to do with the experience. Do you want to compete again and stuff like that? That's totally up to you. So my approach in my academy is 100% directed to personal development, like to know about yourself. If you want to go beyond the personal development and you really want to pursue, that's up to you. Just understand that it's a rough journey. It's a tough one. And if you want to make a living with jiu-jitsu, that's more complicated, and better than most. So what would you say, um coming now, kind of going to your entrepreneurship journey? uh it's kind of two questions in one, but one is, what are one of your biggest struggles as a business owner? Because many times we don't know, we just learning, and then we're like, oh crap, I didn't know that it's like this, I didn't know that we need this here. So let's break this down first. So what is a struggle? Sometimes could it be marketing, sometimes could it be staff, sometimes whatever, anything that comes to your mind.
Yes, my biggest struggle comes from back 2000, maybe 13, when my first professor, his name is Aelso Silva, he told me something that really, really stick with me until today. I remember we was a very small academy in the middle of the favelas in Brazil, and then the community there, the first team that we started, there was so much about like hierarchy and stuffs like that. And I remember people from other school when came best training that area, people say, oh, I also stealing students from other academy, which he was not. He was not inviting nobody. The people just go there to seek for better training. Especially when I start to win a lot of tournaments, people go there to train with me. And the guys that on the team was saying that he was stealing students from the other academy, stuff like that. So then my first professor told me something. One day, Thalys, because he told me this before I become, he told me, he said one day when he tied the blue belt in my hip, he told me, you will be the best in the world one day. And I was like, thank you, I will. And then after I win the kids world championship and the kids world championship in the blue belt, I went back to Brazil. I give him my blue belt and I told him, you told me I will be the best in the world, I become, and here's the belt back for you. But going back to the impreneur part, he told me, when you open your school, don't get people from other academies, so you don't have to live this what I'm living now. And then I was like, okay, but that I saw he get hurt so much and it was not even his fault because he was not inviting the people. So I stick with that. When I open my first academy, I say, I don't want nobody from other schools. I want only people, beginners. I only want people to come here and start from scratch. So every single human that I talk about told me that I was out of my mind to open an academy like that. But guess what? I stick to it. And today I have over 100. I don't even know now much in my brain because that's not my department, but I know I have more than 100 students in my school. I have a very giant school, very successful school. I mean, successful because everything paid the bills and I have everything that I want for my life outside of the academy. So for me, that is success. My belly is full. My wife is happy, you know. So for me, that is success. Uh, I start and I stick until now. I only accept beginners in my school. I don't accept people from other schools. And that's something that was my real difficult that first come into my mind because that make the growth of the academy
For
so much
sure.
lower. And that
Yeah,
make
for
the
sure.
growth of the academy so much more difficult because it's much easier. Example here is just me and my wife, the world champions that is here. Beside me and her, there's nobody else. And then just in the North Carolina, like 1 hour plus far away from here, there's Lucas Lepre. But people don't want to drive 1 hour and a half or 1 hour to go train, you know? So they, especially in America, they want what is the closest.
Yeah, for sure.
So here there's just me and Abby, and so much people want to come train with us. Like every single week, there's 1 to 5 people from other academies trying to learn from us. And I tell them no for join the academy, but I tell them it's not fully closed tap for you guys. You guys have a window to learn from us, but only in private class. So I put my private class so much more expensive for visitors
Hmm.
and very cheap for my own students because my main goal is make my students better, not make money from them. And for the people from the outside, if they want to learn from me, I teach them in private class in small groups that come from the different schools, or I travel to people's academy to teach them private class if I don't want them in my academy. And simple as that. That was a big struggle. That was a big struggle for me. Now it's no more because I don't need to hit the break even. I already hit the break even. But before I hit the break even, that was my biggest struggle. Find the beginners, find the
Hmm.
new people to build them from scratch, which I had 2 months ago or 1 month ago, I received Alvaro Romano here, the creator of Ginástica Natural. He came here and he was like, I in because he does jiu-jitsu since the Gracie family time. He was a blue
Hmm.
belt training with Elio Gracie, you know, and stuffs like that. So he told me something that really was amazing for me. I know that we have to just smell the when people tell you good stuff, you just smell it and let it pass. you should not keep that much. But from him, I stick with it because I know how much life experience he have in jiu-jitsu. I know he experienced jiu-jitsu from the main source, that is the Gracie family. And he told me my kids program was the most focused, behavior, respectful, and body control, the best kids program he have ever watched a kids class, because he arrived into the mat area and all my kids was sit down, cross legs, hands on the knees, breathing. And then I went to explain the technique. All the kids was looking at me and like not moving an inch, watching the techniques. And then I show the techniques. I parted up them. Everybody stand up in focus position. I put them to do the techniques, and they did the techniques like very, very calm, helpful, helping one another, and doing the techniques with like so good body control. And he was watching the group level too. He was not even watch the advanced group. And then before the rows, the part that amazed him so much, because I tell my kids jiu-jitsu base, and then everybody does jiu-jitsu base, and I say respect with a bow, and then they bow, reverencia o amigo, agree with a tap, and then aí eles bate a mão, fight with a bum fist. Então, bow, tap hands, bum fist. Para nós é respect, agreement to fight.
Mm-hmm.
Então, eles fizeram isso, aí eu falo, step back for distance, aí eles deram, and then they did a step back for get distance. And then when they did the step back for distance, I told them, now close your eyes, do 3 deep breaths, and think about which one is your first attack. And then all the kids like closed their eyes, did a deep breath, deep breath, deep breath. Are you ready? Go. And then the kids just start to roll with attacks in the mind, because I tell the people that I teach you, like, you don't have to think about the end of it. You have to think about the beginning of it. When you're gonna fight, you have to think about the beginning of it. You don't think about the final. If you have 5 fights in front of you, you think about the person that is in front of you right now. You have to be present in the moment. What is the first thing you're going to do? It matters. So, and then that's what I was drilling with them in that specific
Awesome.
class. And then Alvaro was like, Thalys, your kids are so amazing. And then one girl, Uchimata, boom, he was like, they know judo. I was like, no. And then the other kids, knee cut, toreando pass, Della Riva, lasso, spider, so many different variety of guards and techniques. And Alvaro was like, those kids are white belt. Those kids are so amazing. How you control them all like that? And I was like, I pray every single day before I start teach class that God help me. Probably that's the secret, But I was super grateful for that advice he gave it to me. The advice, not the praise he gave to me about my kids program, because I was very, very happy to see someone like that amount of pedigree, uh, seeing the hard work that I have been done in these past years to my students. And something that you say, one thing you were saying before that I would like to connect with this about struggles that I been through being an owner of an academy, is because so many people told me that I would never be able to be a world champion if I own a school,
Mm-hmm.
because it's really hard in the adult level and stuff like that. So 2022, I become world champion, and the experience because you was there with me every single part of it. But in 2023, after I win the awards in 2022, I got promoted to black belt, you saw. And then I told Abby, I say, my love, I accomplished everything what I ever would like to accomplish in jiu-jitsu. I feel good. I feel like complete for myself. And even if this will be the last thing I'll do in my entire life, I'm gonna help you to have the feeling that I had today. Because I win, you saw our performance. I fight, she fight. I fight, she
Mm-hmm.
fight. I fight, she fight. I fight and win. and I went to the podium, get black belt, gold medal, win words, the best feeling ever. And then she go back to fight her final, and then she lost in the final by 1 point, you know. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, ah. And then I told her, even if this is the last thing I'll do in my life, I will help you to be world champion so you can have that feeling, because she lost in the final 3 times. So I was right here already, you know.
Yeah.
So I told her I'm gonna help her to have that feeling. So I stopped competing. I said, I'm not gonna compete no more until you become world champion. And I'm going to dedicate everything for you. So, and then that's when I start to learn so much more the part of, let me turn it on the light because it's getting dark. So that was the moment that I start to focus so much more on mental development, on
Mm-hmm.
performance development, because was not much more about of myself, was about helping her. And through that time, I started to pay attention that I had to become the best example possible to my kids in the school, and to my students, adults as well. So then I start to improve myself as a person even more. I start to improve myself as a husband. I start to improve myself as a professor. So I get so much more knowledge on how to deal with people, how to deal with my emotions, how to, even was funny you send that text today in the group about express your emotions, you know, because that was
Mm-hmm.
something that I struggled so much before. And I start to do that so much more with Abby, and it make our relationship one. It was always great, but makes so much more wonderful when I start to express for her my pains and express for her my struggles, and she did the same to me. So we help one another so much with that. And in 2023, she was just training, focus on win words and build the school, and I was dealing with the most in the school. And then she went to the World Championship. She had a wonderful performance. She win the awards, being number one in the ranking in the world as a life feather. She win the World Championship, and I promote her together with Bruno Bastos to the black belt. And I think that was something really blessed from God, because it happened better for both of us, happened better than we have ever dreamed about, that we both will be ranked number one in the world light featherweight in the brown belt. We both win the awards in the brown belt and get promoted to the black belt in the most hard podium that exists in the planet, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
I was really, really proud and happy that it happened that way for us. And then soon as she win the awards, I told her, okay, now I'm gonna be back to compete, because I want to
Mm-hmm.
compete more than ever now. So, and then I keep competing a little bit more. And then she told me she wanted to go to the college and become a CPA in accounting. So, and then I was like, okay, that's going to be very beneficial for both of us. So I'm going to support you on that. And I'm going to handle everything by myself at TAP. So you can study and you can do that to accomplish it. And that's what I'm doing now. She's in the college. She started in a local college here. It's called York Tech. And then she become very smart, very fast, because she was already having some credits, and then she studied so much, she put a lot of hours on it. And then she win in the first year, she made 2 or 3 years in one in an accelerate pace. And then she started to compete for the college in the Skills USA. I tell her that is the smart people tournament. And then
Mm-hmm.
she started winning as well in the Skills USA, competing with people versus accounting stuffs. And then she got a reward in the college being the best student of the entire college in business
Nice, man.
accounting. And then after that, a big college that have close by here, that's called Winthrop. That is one of the best colleges in America on business accounting. That college basically took her from York Tech and say like, hey, you come represent us because you are super good. So, and then she moved to the Winthrop, and now she's doing a very wonderful job. She already getting so many work opportunities to work as a accounting, and she's gonna work in now in next year. She's gonna work in the second best uh, accounting firm here in the Charlotte area. and our lives is just flying up all the way up. Very blessed. I'm very grateful for everything that is happening on that case. But the struggle of own an academy and become world champion is possible. It's real hard. I cannot tell you that it's easy. It's real hard. The struggle is real, but it's possible. Never, if you are listening to this and you think, if I open a school, I'm not gonna be able to be a world champion, that's not true. It's possible. I did it. And if I did it, anybody can do it. If you put so much work into it, so much passion, have so much faith, and work real hard, because I work real hard every single day. I
Man,
about that.
man, it's incredible for people watching on YouTube. I don't know, my screen is looking, the color of the screen is looking pretty weird. If you're listening to the audio version, doesn't really matter. But on YouTube, I have no idea what happened. He actually bought a new camera, and I thought I was gonna get here and today, but anyway, what matters is especially the audio. And dude, this has been an incredible conversation, probably one of the longest ones I had before. And I feel that people are going to be inspired too. And people want to send you a message. Just tell your Instagram real quick.
So my Instagram is Thalys Pontes, ThalysPontes, or you can find me through Tap BJJ Academy, Tap Academy, or Thalys Pontes BJJ. You're gonna find me. Put my name on Google and you're gonna figure it out.
Awesome, dude. Man, it was great to catch up with you and learn more about the your story. I already knew, a lot of the stuff, and I have listened to, maybe I think last week, I think maybe I listened to one of a podcast maybe that you did maybe a while back. I don't know, but anyway, but I already familiar with the story, and man, I can, as I mentioned, super inspiration, and hopefully, people who are listening can get some really good inspiration out of it, and knowing that um, all the work that you put in is not in vain. When you know that you have, especially when you have that strong why. And I feel that this is even something that I mentioned in my book. That's the first rule, is that understanding your why you want to compete, why you want to start your business, why you want to go to school. It's very clear. It has to be very clear for you, like what path you're going. And then of course with time, um, of course doors open, and then challenges will appear, and just keep accepting the challenges. And um, one of the phrases that I always like to mention, if you're looking for a big opportunity, accept a big challenge, and then you get in the challenge opportunity loop. You accept a challenge, and then as a result opens an opportunity, and a lot of the opportunities sometimes comes a new challenge. You accept the challenge, next thing you got a nice flow going of challenge and opportunities. And this is you're an example of that, man. You've been accepting challenges, your whole life, and opportunities keep presenting themselves. And that's how to do it. So thank you so much for your time, brother.
Thank you so much, Gustavo. I'm really grateful for you, for your life, for your knowledges as well. And I'm very grateful that you shared that with me and with the world through this work that you have been doing such a wonderful job in the BJJ Mental Code podcast. The stuff that you are doing with the tribe, that's super amazing how much people you have been helping with that. I starting one vision that I always had in my life, that one day when I have a school, I would like to help the people that don't have much money. So I just started a project here in my academy as well. And before even I release out to the website and to the Instagram stuffs, I already got one parent to support, and we help one family that is like one mom and dad with 6 or 7 kids. We're helping them already. So I'm very grateful, and I'm inspired from all the work you do. I'm very grateful for everything what you do, and for the blessed opportunity to have you in my life. For real, I'm
Awesome.
great.
All right, everyone. You guys take care. Who's
Thank you.